Hello everybody and welcome to Gene's Reviews. Reviews from a regular dude. Where I do trailer reactions, I react to YouTube videos, I review YouTube channels, occasionally I'll review a movie, but really, I just do whatever the hell I want. Hello everybody and welcome to Gene's Reviews. Reviews from a regular dude. Down in the basement. Today we're going to do one from Top 5 Unknowns. 5 scariest urban legends ever that will scare you silly. So let's check this out.
Urban legends are part of all different cultures around the world. From Bigfoot to Bloody Mary, stories have been passed down for generations. They serve as warnings for some children or as explanations for the unknown. While most people regard legends as nothing more than stories, one can't help but wonder where they got their origins. Were they just a figment of someone's imagination, or are they based on something real, transforming over time after countless retellings? Either way, there are some sinister creatures and haunting tales circulating across the globe. Here are 5 of those stories.
I like Ty Knotts, the guy who does these videos.
Is your favorite RPG game getting dull and boring? All mobile and PC RPG games are not made the same, and Raid Shadow Legends certainly stands out among the rest. This game will take you to a world of...
We're back.
Brian Bethel will never forget an encounter he had late one night in 1996. Sitting in the parking lot of an Abilene, Texas movie theater, he was making out a check to leave in the drop box at the office of his internet provider. In complete darkness, using only the light provided by the businesses, Brian was startled by a knock on his driver's side window. There stood 2 children wearing hooded sweatshirts. The boys appeared to be about 10 years of age, and for reasons he can't explain, Brian was afraid. Cracking his window slightly, Brian was asked by one of the children if he could give them a ride to their house to retrieve money from their mother to see a movie. Glancing at the theater sign, Brian determined that the last showing for that evening had already begun. By the time the boys would make it back, it would be close to over. The boys were persistent, explaining to him that they were just kids and it wouldn't take long, and that they didn't have a gun. That last statement sent chills through the already unnerved man, and he began to silently panic. The coal-black eyes of the children never left Brian, even as he apologized, rolling his window up and reversing out of the parking lot. One of the boys banged against Brian's window once more, shouting that they couldn't come in unless he let them, and began begging for him to let them in. Quickly exiting the park...
Well, right there, when they say we can't come in unless you let us, would be a warning sign to me. Get the hell out of here.
Parking lot, Brian looked at his rearview mirror, half expecting to see the children running after him, but they had vanished. These children, known as the Black-Eyed Children, have reportedly been seen by hundreds, if not thousands of people since Brian's first encounter. Reports of similar children have been made since the 1980s, but it wasn't until the 90s that stories of these children started to circulate. After posting about his experience, Brian was contacted by a man from South Korea who claimed to have seen the children himself. Many people have reported the Black-Eyed Children knocking on their doors and asking to come inside. They say that these children appear normal at first glance, but their eyes are a sinister pool of darkness. Witnesses report that if you make eye contact with these children, your mind becomes disconnected from your body, and before you realize what's happening to you, you're under their control. Legend has it that you have to invite the Black-Eyed Kids into your space for them to enter. Letting them in is inviting pure evil that can have devastating consequences, though.
Never seen one? Never want to. Although I don't really believe they're real anyway.
Number 4. Hailing as the world's second largest rainforest after the Amazon, the Congolian rainforest spans across 6 different countries in Africa. While the region itself has a dark and sordid history, locals today are still haunted by a creature that lives among them. Deep in the jungles, the vengeful spirits of African ancestors are said to inhabit creatures called biloki. These gnome-sized creatures are hairless, with only patches of grass and moss growing from their skin.
Like a spider.
They have piercing eyes and a mouth that opens large enough to consume a whole human. Their long, sharp claws can easily tear through human flesh, and it's believed that biloki live in the hollowed-out trees deep in the jungle and use small bells to entertain anyone who ventures too close. Although small in stature, the biloki are extremely dangerous. Using the bells can hypnotize their prey and make their victim more susceptible to their morbid requests. People living in the Congo region believe that only people who possess the power of magic can survive the encounter of the Boloki, as they're extremely strong and powerful. One variation of the legend describes a husband who took his wife into the jungle to hunt. While setting up his traps, he left her in their hut, only to return to her bandaging her arm, explaining that she developed a sore. Unbeknownst to him, while he was away, Boloki had come to the hut, mesmerizing her with the bells, asking for the meat off of her bones, and she obliged. The following day, when her husband set out his empty traps, Boloki visited her once again, requesting the meat from her bones again, leaving her with yet another large wound. Not believing the wife's explanation of the sudden mysterious sore and suspecting Boloki, on the third day he remained in the hut with her. When the creature returned to finish feeding on his wife, the husband was prepared, firing an arrow into the chest before decapitating it. While the story may serve as a way to prevent further destruction of the rainforest, some think the legend may have originated from sightings of another tribe living deep within the jungle.
I think most of the things like this are exactly what it says, urban legends. They're like stories that, been handed down from generation to generation just to like tell your kids to scare them and stuff like that for entertainment. I like hearing about this stuff, though.
This creature has several different pronunciations and names given to it all across the world, but a creature called the bunyip has been a part of Australian folklore since the 1800s. The creature is said to occupy the rivers and swamps across the country, reportedly preying upon anyone and anything that comes too close to the water. The bunyip has been most commonly described as having the head of an emu and the body of an alligator with razor-sharp claws. It swims in the water like a frog, and when on land, the 12-foot creature walks on its hind legs. It's believed that the bunyip, although large in stature, can sneak up on its unsuspecting prey, going unnoticed until it's
from Australia. It's not near as cute as a koala bear.
It's too late. Growing up in Australia, children were warned against swimming alone or playing too close to the water's edge, as the bunyip was always watching and waiting for its next victim. Taking into consideration that bunyip translates to devil or evil spirit, it isn't surprising that it became the source of fear among many people across the country. In 1818, large bones were discovered by an explorer known as Hamilton Humes, who believed they belonged to a very large manatee or hippopotamus. Scholars, on the other hand, believe they could have been connected to the infamous bunyip. In 1830 and again in 1845, bones were unearthed which further solidified the Australians' belief in the bunyip. In 1845, a skull was found and displayed in the Australian Museum of Sydney as proof of the bunyip's existence. The skull was determined to have belonged to a deformed calf, but it was stolen a few years later from the museum. Most people believe today that the mysterious bunyip may have been a descendant of the Diprotodon or nothing more than an elephant seal, but hold steadfast that the bunyip stalks the Australian waters.
It's kind of cool.
Number 2. Alexander Sawney Bean is said to have been born in East Scotland during the 16th century. His father worked as a ditch digger, and when it came time for Sawney to join the family business, it proved too difficult for him. He left his family and married a woman named Agnes Douglas, a rumored witch, and they set out for an easier life. Having no skills and a lack of income, the pair turned to robbery as a way to survive. They made a home in a cave, and Sawney robbed the travelers navigating the small mountain roads between villages. After some time, Sawney realized that he was bound to get caught when the travelers reported him. Being the intelligent man that he was, he devised a plan that would most certainly prevent him from being caught. He would not only rob the people, but he would kill them as well. Because this would create more work, having to clean up the bodies, he decided to butcher them and use them for food, as this would not only be easier, but it would eliminate the need for trips to the food market as well. Before too long, Sawney and Agnes started a family. In total, they had 14 children who were all raised as cannibals in the caves. Over 2 decades, the family grew in size, as did their body count. With missing persons reports flooding the nearby villages and bodies washing up on the surrounding beaches, authorities began to search the area. The cave, however, was not searched, and the family remained. Time passed, and Sawney perfected his art of human hunting. One evening, a few members of the family ventured out in search of food. They spotted a man and his wife returning home from a fair and swiftly attacked. The woman was quickly overpowered, but the man was able to use his horse to escape. Just then, a group of 20 travelers came upon the scene, and realizing that they were outnumbered by the Sawney family, retreated to the cave. The husband and 20 witnesses approached the leaders of the area and reported the vicious attack. King James was the first to immediately be notified and organized an army of 400 men, equipped with tracking dogs to locate the family. Using torches, the army entered the cave system and made their way down the winding passages to the deepest part of the cave. About a mile in, they discovered the Sawney family. Along with human body parts hanging from the walls, the floors were littered with the belongings of the hundreds of their victims. All 48 of the members of the family were captured and taken to Edinburgh. They were sentenced to death without a trial. The men were dismembered and left to bleed to death, while the women were burned like witches. Although widely believed to be nothing more than a legend, the cave system is still a popular destination in Scotland, where curious visitors can explore the Sawney family home.
It's amazing to me how someone just can completely go into madness. Complete madness like that.
Number 1. The Mouth of Truth stands against the wall of the Santa Maria in the Cosmedin Church located in Rome, Italy. The large marble mask weighs approximately 2,800 pounds and is believed to be modeled after the Roman god Oceanus. It's theorized that in the 15th century, a woman was accused of adultery. Standing before the Mouth of Truth in front of a growing crowd of people, her husband demanded that she state she had never kissed another man. After saying this, she was to place her hand in the statue's mouth. If she was telling the truth, nothing would happen. However, if she told a lie, the mouth would clamp shut, severing her hand. Just before the woman was about to declare her innocence, a stranger ran to her from the crowd and kissed her on the mouth. Seen as just a crazy bystander by her husband and everyone who witnessed it, the man was chased away. Little did they know that the man had been her lover. The woman loudly proclaimed, "I have never kissed another man other than my husband and that crazy man you just witnessed." She placed her hand into the statue's mouth and nothing happened. Her husband and the crowd believed that she was innocent. It's said that the Mouth of Truth was used throughout the 11th century as an oracle to determine honesty, although its origin is unknown. Hundreds of people visit the statue when traveling to Italy, crossing their fingers as they place their hand inside the Mouth of Truth.
That was kind of cool. I'd never heard that one before. That was pretty neat. Well, that was Top 5 Unknowns with the narrator Ty Knotts. How about another thing you should never say on a first date? Would you like to see some pics of my taxidermy collection? Thank you, everybody. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, hashtag #MeanGene, all that fun stuff. And if you like this video, tell all your friends, leave a comment down below. And if you didn't like it, then just shut up. And I will see you next time.